Hello, in this video we are going to learn how to do a stock take in JiPOS version 3 and of course how to reconcile this particular stock. So first things, stock take is done per store in JiPOS version 3. That means if I have got store 1, store 2, then I have to do the stock per store, that is do the stock take per store. Second, this should be done frequently. That is what we advise, so that always you run the right inventory balances at any given time. You can decide to do it on a daily basis, weekly basis, in every 2 weeks, monthly, quarterly, but then we advise this should be done frequently whenever possible. So how do we do stock takes in JiPOS version 3? This is slightly different from what we had in version 2. So you go to products, click stock take. It will get you to this particular window. So we are going to create an instance. Every stock take is just an instance that we have, of course, in the system, just the way you can have your stock take book. That is if you're using the manual option. You have what instances. This stock was taken on this day, these were the balances. Now in JiPOS we call that stock take instances. So you're going to first create an instance. We don't have any in our main store. I'm going to select the store. I'm going to give it a name. This you can give any name you want, but then I'm going to leave it at that, and it is let me say evening here. So the stock take date today. Item categories is something added in version 3. So this gives you the freedom to take stock of just a selected group of items. You can get into your store and just decide to take stock of dry goods, maybe cold room items, and just a given set of items, not necessarily taking stock of all items. But then you also still have the option of taking stock of creating an instance of all items within that particular store which you want to take stock of. So I'll just go with the default. I'm taking stock of all items, that is all categories. I'm giving it an active checkbox, and I can write any description here. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click add instance button. So that will create this instance, and the system will automatically redirect me into this particular stock take details. So this is an instance created, and if I just go one step backwards, you'll see that this particular table here is already populated with this particular instance. I'm just going to open it again so that we continue. Now we have got this particular, of course, stock take details, reconcile button. I can export this to PDF or to CSV and save it somewhere. Now we have got this particular stock take instance for the main store. These are the stock line. So these are the items found in the main store. Now the system will automatically generate the system balance, that is this particular column. Then we have got the manually inserted quantities. It is this particular column. So you will be using your tablet or your phone or your computer, adding those particular correct quantity. We call them actual balances or physical balances. The numbers you counted physically in the shelves or in the counters, you put them in this particular form. So I can say my soda 500 ml, instead of 115, I just found out that they are 117. And then I have got this. I'll leave it at that. Then I'll find out maybe that my minute maid are 22 instead of 25. So come here and refresh this particular page. I'll see the deviations. There's a positive 2 here. This doesn't have a deviation, and there is a negative deviation here because I just found out they're less by 3. And there's the deviation value. This deviation value is auto calculated from the cost or the purchase price of this particular item. So I've got a positive inventory value of 23.34. That is based on the purchase price. I've got, of course, also here a deviation of negative 75. That is the negative 3 times the value of that particular minute maid. That is the cost price of that particular minute maid. So the total deviation value is a negative, and the moment I have a negative deviation value, that means the something that is happening and I'm encountering a loss or damages. So we have got comment section here. So I'm just going to refresh, and in this case I have found out that I have got extras. So I have got a positive deviation. If I hit reconcile stock, that particular expense input field automatically disappears, because I'm not encountering more of like losses in terms of damages and maybe rodents, pests, theft and breakages that were not recorded in the system. So I just reconcile this, then just hit reconcile. So once that has happened, you see I cannot now take stock in this particular instance. This chapter is closed. The only thing I can do, I can export this particular instance to PDF if I want to save it externally. However, it is still in the system and will be retrieved upon, of course, demand. So we have got this particular details. This was the reconciliation date, this was the reconciliation value, it was a positive, it was not a negative, and it was reconciled by admin. This is the reference. If it was an expense account could have been let me say could have been displayed in this particular section. So if I go back to my one step backwards, I'll see that this particular instance is complete and closed. Now that will make our stock to run with the current balances that we've registered in the system. I'll just open this particular product called Minute Maid. I'll just visit the profile. Initial quantity system was saying 25, we reconciled 40, so that means the running balance or the current balance should be 40. So if I just open the profile, in my main store you'll see it is 40, and that is updated. So that is how you are going to do stock take and do stock reconciliation in JiPOS version 3. Remember, this needs to be done frequently so that you don't have, or the system does not run with not negatives, but with wrong balances. It can be a negative deviation or a positive deviation. There should be no deviation actually. So thank you, and subscribe to our channel to see more or to watch more of our videos on JiPOS version 3.